Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I got another deck profile for you guys today, and it's my Salamangreat deck, but only it's a little different this time around than my usual build. And honestly, this might be the deck I'll take for the Houston Regional coming up this weekend. And reason being is because I have a lot of theories with this deck, and what's fun about Salamangreat is that you can build it in pretty much almost any way you want. In fact, there's almost like no real wrong way of playing the deck. Of course, if you were like excluding cards like Gazelle or Circle, then you are playing the deck wrong, but I've been following this strategy a little bit differently because I've seen a lot of builds that are like going crazy with Nibiru, and honestly, I thought Nibiru was going to be bad in this deck, but it's actually really good. Now, this deck is susceptible to Nibiru, but there are ways to out it, so that's what I'm going to show you this time around. So let me go ahead and get started, and yeah. Alright, so starting off, going to be playing 3 copies of Foxy, and the reason being since your pot of duality, also outs floodgates, especially because its effect resolves in the graveyard, so Foxy is definitely a great card, and he definitely deserved that prismatic secret. 3 Spinny, of course, I don't really need to explain this. I'm actually playing 2 Jack Jaguar now because at first I thought 2 was going to be bad, but then I realized, you know what, no, never mind, it's actually really good. It's free discard fodder for Flame Buffalo and Silent Mining, so you can trigger off Gazelle almost every given time. Even if you normal summon this, it's not a bad thing, because like, especially if you can search out cards like Foul, you've got an extension play, you also got Will of the Salamangreat, as I mentioned. You know, there's a lot of good things to do with this deck now. And yeah, like, even then, you know, it's like, this deck's still really powerful. Next, 1 Gazelle. Even at 1, this deck, like I said, can still do a lot. It can still hold its own just fine. And honestly, I think it's hard to believe this card was ever at 3, to be honest with you. But yeah, Gazelle, it's your heart and soul, just dumps all your salad cards, like your traps, your monsters, whatever you want. And then you can just recur them later. Next, Falco. Everyone should already know what he does. And of course, Foul. These two come whenever they come up. Foul's just a good way to stop trap heavy decks, like just freeze up their trap cards, and yeah, you should be fine. And that's it for the salad cards. Now we're moving on to the Cyber's Engine. I'm running 3 Flame Buffalo. Even when people said this card was bad, I was still playing it, even when Lady Debug was at 3, because I just thought this card gave you a lot more value. Discards any Cyber's monster to draw 2 cards, so it's essentially a Pot of Greed almost every given turn, and it is recurable, so yeah. Next, 2 copies of Sea Archiver. This is easily the best extender for this deck. I took off Lady Debug because Lady Debug is just way too vulnerable right now. It's vulnerable to cards like Ghost Ogre, Effect Veiler, Impermanence, Ash Blossom, so that's why I decided to take it. I want to play cards where I can get more value and chain block, so, and that's the key word, chain block. And Sea Archiver acts as a pseudo spinny that can actually chain block for you if you summon Gazelle to, like, Balinks, for example. So, Sea Archiver just gives you, like, instantly a free Mirage Stallion, and with Gazelle you can dump for free without having to worry about cards like Ash Blossom, so definitely want to consider Sea Archiver, and it's also free discard fodder for Flame Buffalo too, so keep that in mind. Alright, so that's it for the Cyber's monsters. Now we're moving on to hand traps. Playing 3 copies of Nibiru. This card is crazy good right now. It puts all the combo decks in check. Now with Orchids, it's a little tricky because they can still go full combo, so you gotta time it just right. They usually say, like, hit it right when they bring out, let's see, I'm trying to remember that monster, Galatea or Dingurusu. That's usually when you want to hit it, because, like, that way you can just, like, clear up their board and that's it. But if it's the Cyber Dragon Orcus, it's going to be a little trickier, so I can't really say for sure when you need to hit them, so just keep that in mind. 3 Ash Blossom, of course, and to deal with pendulums, because like they can actually out Nibiru fairly easily, deciding to go with Effect Veiler. Like if they try to stop it with Jackal King, you can chain with Effect Veiler and stop the Jackal King, and there you can Nibiru their board. So yeah, definitely a good way to combo off too. But Nibiru also comes in tangent with another card, which I'll show you in just a moment. So yeah, so that's it for all my main deck monsters. I'm sorry. So now we're moving on to spells. Now, hopefully you guys are pretty much ready for this one. So starting off with my spells, and this is actually why Nibiru is so damn good in this deck, Enemy Controller. Like, if your opponent's token is like at a high enough attack strength, you can just Enemy Controller, take control of that token by tributing your Nibiru, attack him for game. So like, this is actually like one of the new win conditions of Salamangreats. And why I can OTK so easily now is because Enemy Controller, and then even without Nibiru, this card is still really good, especially in the mirror match. Because if they super poly you, because some builds still run super poly, you can just switch that Violet Chimera into defense mode, so, and nobody ever sees it coming, so that's why Enemy Controller is really good, going first and going second. Next, 3 Signet Mining. You know, it's a basic searcher, and if you don't have access to this, I've mentioned Signet Backdoor multiple occasions before. Even Pot of Desires is a good option. I don't like to run it in my build because I want to keep my resources, so that's why. Now, this is the card that helps you out in Nibiru because, like I said, this deck is vulnerable to it, but if you get hit with it, there is a way to recover. You're going to be playing 3 copies of Will of the Salamangreat. And this is basically Monster Reborn / Soul Charge, and you could still potentially go full combo if you have Will of the Salamangreat. So definitely want to run this at 3 now just because, you know, it is really good. So just keep that in mind. For one-ofs, I got Sanctuary, of course, and Circle, just to make Searcher. And the only card the only spell I'm playing at 2 is Call by the Grave, mainly because it can't hit Smashy Rock, so that's the only reason why I'm running it. But you definitely will still want to be able to protect yourself from certain hand traps, so Call by the Grave really comes in handy whenever I need it. So, like, you want to see it and you don't want to see it at the same time, so that's kind of like my theory behind it, of running it at 2. Next, we're only running 3 traps now, 2 Rage, and 1 Roar. I've seen some builds run Roar at 2 instead, but the reason I'm going with Rage because I feel like it outs a little bit more. Where Roar, you need the Link monster to activate it. So I think Rage just gives you a little bit more value and just outs a little bit more. So that's just my theory behind it. Well, that's it for the main deck. That's 41 cards actually, rather than my usual 40, but 1 additional card really doesn't hurt too much. First, the extra deck, it's pretty standard. Gotta play 3 Balinks, 3 Wolf, 2 Heat Leo. You know, this is like your standard Salamangreat lineup. I can't wait for that Link 4 monster. That monster's gonna be crazy. Running 1 Hita. I'm running Phoenix and Unicorn now because Unicorn just gives you an additional draw if it's co-linked with Phoenix, so that's just my reason behind it. Running Appaloosa because it's super easy to make now, especially with Will of the Salamangreat being played at 3, so definitely want to take full advantage of her and getting her all 4 negates, so definitely a great card. Of course, my personal favorite, Avermax. And for Xyz monsters, I'm running 1 Mirage Stalio and 1 Abyss Dweller just to stop those pesky graveyard decks, so yeah. And that's pretty much it. Alright, so now for the side deck, I'm running 3 Artifact Lancia. This really hurts Orcus and Thunder Dragons, because Thunder Dragons is actually my most awkward matchup. 3 Ghost Sister. The theory behind this is like, since I'm going to a regional, most people try to win by time sometimes, and I've noticed that. So I kind of want to get that advantage too by instead of burning them for damage, I want to gain life points. Just so I can get like a huge lead against them, especially on game 3. 3 Cosmic Cyclone, again, just to deal with like back row heavy strategies. This is a little bit more specific for Sky Strikers, but for any deck that just like has massive boards and they don't have a real out to it, evenly matched. To deal with like Pendulum players, 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance. I also got Imperial Order just in case I really need it, but I may cut it out for just another Anti-Spell Fragrance. I haven't decided yet, but yeah, that's the general gist of it. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile, and I will catch you guys again next time.